So out of all the people, I never thought it would be my sister. The one to be envious and actually hate my guts. Guys, I'll start from the beginning so you can get a little context. Let me just walk you through this crazy sibling relationship. Oh boy. After my early life's up and downs, I finally met a man in whom I found every single quality which I thought a perfect partner should have. A tall man with a beard, having little wavy hair that made him so handsome. His unconditional love towards me astonished me every time. Despite that, I had a sister, Dila, who always appeared to be the most caring person in front of me, but in reality, she was the real danger in my life. From my childhood, I was an extraordinary talented student in school and even college. I used to participate in many extracurricular activities and had many achievements. Dila was an average student who used to get scolded by grandmother for not focusing on her studies enough. That thing made her more insecure towards me. She started hating me from a little age. She never got satisfied to see me happy ever. She always used to get jealous of everything that I have, whether that was love, achievements, or a life partner. They always bullied her by saying different bullcrap words and always did compare her with me. Because, well, I do have a stable job, organized life, well-approached friends, and even by now I was going to marry a perfect man. And sooner or later, everything about me just pushed her down and her insecurities grew evenly. My father also used to ignore her, and the worst part is the comparison between the children. It made her flustered when my father did a comparison between me and my sister. One day, well, she won a Nobel Prize for the first time in her life. She was enthralled and excited and wanted to share her happiness with family except me. When she told her father about her achievements, he guffawed and put a sarcastic remark about my sister. "What new things have you done? Just a prize? Look at your sister, she's at the peak of her career." Well, she started crying impulsively because my father blanched at his malicious comments. She barged into her room and started throwing everything in her room. I went into her room and everything was broken. She was lying on the floor and watching the roof of the room. I started ruffling her hair and she pushed me away while screaming at me. I was stunned and my heart was broken into a million pieces once more. She snarled and grabbed me so tightly while saying, "Why me? Comparison with you, why, it's insane. Don't you think I'm a human? No, you don't think at all like this. Why would you ever? In fact, you enjoy this, and you have immense hatred for me. You're the true embodiment of evil in my life, and I hate you to the fullest." Jason and I have been in a relationship since our college days. He was senior to me and had a broad spectrum of seeing the world in a different view. We were members of the same literary society of college, from where our first interaction started. I used to enjoy Jason's company, as his intelligence always fascinated me. After spending a handful of time together, we realized that we can't live without each other. So, I confessed my love for him, which made him really happy, as he's also having the same feeling towards me. After completing our entire education, we decided to be together for the rest of our life. So, we made the decision to get married. Jason and I planned to bring together our families and then tell them about the most important decision in our life. We decided to keep our relationship evenly private even from our families, as the two of us were not ready to face such an unnecessary drama. But the time had just arrived when there was no option left to face them. The two of us did not want to waste time any further, so Jason and I decided we would break the ice with our families by inviting them for a casual dinner. Well, Jason took his family to my home in order to ask my hand from my grandmother, Melissa. My grandmother became very happy after hearing this and instantly said yes. But as soon as Dila got to know about this, she became furious. And I'm talking mad. As Jason belonged to the richest family, having a huge villa, 3 cars, and a large company, all these things made her jealous of me because, well, she got married to a mediocre man who had a low-income job, a small house. As soon as Jason's family left, she popped up in front of me and taunted me with the words that I just trapped a rich man with my innocent looks. Yeah, that really broke my heart. But I remained silent after that. She started a fight with her husband for not giving her a big house and making the whole environment of the house unpleasant. Grandma also got worried because of her. The two families made a spontaneous response that they need to discuss this fact in private. That night went off, and the next morning I was supposed to meet Jason, but he did not respond to any of the calls. I, being a worried partner, drove straight away to his villa, and as expected, I was evenly confronted by my sister, who was already at their house. Her evil stare was not welcoming at all. I greeted her, and she welcomed me with insane remarks, and her words still pounded in my head. I was astounded at what she was doing in her house of Jason. Maybe she was fascinated by the villa. Yes, she was fascinated by the house as well as she was fascinated by the wealth. She was there behind her core purposes, but I was unable to understand the fact that what she was doing there. Jason's mother seemed a bit off, and my intuition was telling me that there's something terribly wrong and something she's done. I don't know what to do or with whom I should ask. While my mother-in-law and my sister were away, a maid came through to give me a glass of water. I was jaded yet perplexed. She told me while giving the glass of water that my sister is showing some pictures of you to the mom-in-law, but she did not know what the pictures are about. My whole world was split into two halves. I knew what the hell she was doing. I rushed towards my house as my mind was out of my state and I was flustered. My heartbeat was skipping, and it was about to be the end of the world for me. I barged into the house while shutting the door with my immense force. My mother confronted me, but she did not know the reality. My father sensed that there was something terribly wrong with me, but I was in immense shock. I was in a cumbersome situation of sorts. The story started a few years back when I wasn't with Jason. Before Jason, I met the most narcissistic person of my life. He has a pure dominant personality who loved to rule over submissive personalities. I was in a deeply abusive relationship with him, and the story ended when I got to know what he was. A drug addict. My sister deciphered the situation, and she recorded one of the biggest mistakes and weaknesses in my life that she can use whenever she wants to use it against me. My father was patronizing me, but I didn't need it. I was in a state where I wanted to tell her what she did was wrong, and I asked father to teach her a lesson. In deep agitation, I swooped into my room and locked the door. My sister came into the house while enjoying her success, but my father made sure that she'll suffer now. When I came in, I didn't want to encounter anyone. When my sister came into the house, my father was already waiting for her. He confronted her and asked her what she did to me. She wasn't even guilty, and my father was just going to slap her, but my mother stopped her. My grandma wasn't able to see the whole situation because her blood pressure was rising. Meanwhile, my father was screaming at her. In front of the whole family, she was guilty, but yet she was praying for my demise. After a few days, when everything got normal, Jason and I decided to have an engagement ceremony to make our relationship official. We picked a specific day from the next month and told our families to confirm their availability. When Dila got to know about the engagement, she started making excuses about her availability to extend the engagement as much as she could. She even told us to postpone our engagement for 4 months. But when Jason's family insisted, she had to agree on the decision. On seeing her reluctant behavior continually, my family was flustered, and they did not want to create any hurdles in my engagement due to my sister, whose heart was immensely covered with grudges. My father gave her the warning that if she did any harm to the engagement, and any evil idea crossed her mind, that he's gonna do something about it and he'll snatch the portion of property that he was going to give her. Time flew and the engagement came. Jason and I were so excited because that thing felt impossible a few days before was now happening. But a little at the corner of my heart, I was feeling like something bad is going to happen. My engagement dress that was sent by my mother-in-law was really pretty and decent. The same as I like. I carefully kept the dress in my room so that no one could touch it. I went to the makeup area to get my makeup done. After 15 minutes, I returned to my room to change the dress. I got completely numb and shocked as I found a huge stain of blue ink all over my dress, just a few minutes before I left it and completely neat and clean. And now, as I return, there's this giant stain. Without wasting the time, I rushed towards the washroom to wash the stain, but all effort went in vain. The spot spread all across the dress and ruined it completely. I started crying. I didn't even suspect someone because I never thought that someone could hate me so much that they would ruin my most important day. For once, I thought about Dila, and it went through my mind. I never did anything bad to someone, and then why did all this happen to me? I said while crying. My grandma calmed me down and told me to call Jason to tell him about the whole scenario. I called him without wasting time and told him about the situation. He, as a responsible man, urgently arranged the new engagement dress for me. I wore it quickly as we were getting short on time. I went to the hall where everyone was looking for us. I was walking in the dress with no feeling at all because it was not the one I liked. Somehow I managed to spend that day in that dress. The very next day, I remembered the CCTV camera in my room, which I had forgotten about because of the rage of the situation. I opened the recording of a mobile and straight away, to the time of what all happened, I was totally shocked after seeing the person behind all that was none other than my sister Dila. How could she? I deliberately asked myself. I swooped into the room and confronted her for what she's done. I can see the evil smile on her face, which even made me more furious. She was a real hypocrite. I started being more careful from now on and did not allow her to come near me. Days went by and her real colors started to get more visible in front of me. One day, Jason suddenly came to my home and confronted Dila. I was not home as I was busy with my job interviews. The very next day, when we met, all of a sudden his behavior towards me took a sharp 360-degree. Usually, when we met, we hugged each other and he used to kiss me on my forehead. But today, nothing like that happened, which made me curious, but as we were both struggling with our job interviews, it might be possible that he forgot to do that. I thought. But when it got normal and he started behaving like this on a daily basis, I confronted him and asked him what exactly was wrong with him. Finally, he opened up about the thoughts that were popping into his mind. "Why didn't you tell me about Alex?" he asked. "What do I need to tell you about Alex?" I questioned. "You didn't tell me that you like him," he said. "What? What are you saying? Are you even in your senses? Who told you that?" I asked furiously. "Your beloved sister Dila," he said. Before I said something in my defense, Jason asked me if I wanted to break the engagement off. I was shattered and asked him what made him think like that. He said, "I don't want to be with a person who's not even loyal to me," and left. I rushed towards the home in anger and came face to face with Dila. "How dare you? How could you do that to me? At least you could think for once that I'm your sister, that there was not even a single feature of guilt or shame on your face." So, I also decided to become stubborn and open up about all the ugly things she did to me in front of Grandma. At that very moment, I was done with my sister, who was just playing games with me. The worst part of the story was that I was the only victim then and there. Thanks to Jason, who always stood by my side, but for one thing, there's something that needs to be learned. So, I took a very sharp step and planned to play on her as their true face would be revealed in front of all. I showed her the CCTV footage because this was the second time that she was doing all these things with me again, and I can't hold it any longer. She wanted to spoil my future, and she wanted to snatch the love of my life, because she hated the fact that I'm going into the richer family, and she deserved the richer man as compared to me. But why am I going to bear all this again? When Grandma knew about all of it, she became so disappointed and disheartened because of her and started saying, quote, "Where did I do something wrong in your upbringing? So you did that to your sister?" Dila was the person who only loved one human with pure intention, and that was Grandma. As soon as Grandma said that she was broken and she didn't want to know what to do, because her actions were extreme and her grandmother knew that she's not going to stop now. Before my wedding, my grandma kicked her out of the house and warned her that if she came into my wedding and did any harm, she's going to take legal action against her. She was crying and begging, but it was too late, and everyone knew that she's not gonna change. The person who's wrapped up in darkness and hatred will end up all alone, eventually like my sister. And my grandma took all the property that she was going to give her as her shares. So guys, I just want to know one thing from you. Do you think Dila was punished to the best of her ability? Or do you think that she deserved more of a punishment than what happened? I want to know your thoughts on this. Drop down below. Also, what would you do if you were in this situation and you had a nutcase like Dila trying to ruin your life every single day, every turn through the avenue? There she is, trying to ruin you. Drop your comments down below, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel if you thought that these videos were cool, because I upload every single day, and I do have other channels too, which you can find in the description below. Thank you so much once again, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.